A century ago, 90% of the casualties of war were combatants, were military men. Today, 75% of the casualties of war are civilians. And so as civilians, as people to people, it's time for us to step forward and to protect each other. Gandhi was working on the Shanti Sena, the peace army, when he was assassinated. And what's happened over the last half a century is that the vision has occurred and recurred enough that it's entered into our consciousness. There's a strong resonance cross-culturally when we talk about this approach to conflict transformation.
Once you see something, you just can't close your eyes.
My sense is that 95% of the people in the world do not want war. They do not like killing. And they don't like that the only alternative is to do nothing and allow ethnic cleansing or any other kind of violence to happen. And they're not satisfied with the alternative, well, we'll just go in and kill people. It's our hope that if we can show through our example that there is a viable alternative that works and costs 1,000th or maybe a millionth what armed intervention would.
We see wars like in Bosnia, Croatia, where good people who oppose war say that there's no alternative to NATO bombing or something else that's violent because there hasn't been a credible enough option for that.
What we are organizing is the world's first trained, standing civilian nonviolent peace force. What that means is we will have a group of well-trained civilians who are trained in effective nonviolent strategies. And then they will go to areas of violent conflict at the invitation of one or more local groups from that area. While there, their mission will be rather narrow. It will be to protect human rights, to protect human life, and to help create the space for local people to do reconciliation work and stay alive in the process.
We have this project in Sri Lanka, a single year of which costs about what the U.S. Department of Defense spends every 2 minutes.
I've had an opportunity to travel in Sri Lanka in the north and the eastern parts as well as in the southern parts. I understood that when common people talk about the need for peace, how after 20 years of war, and I could feel what's the significance of peace and nonviolence.
Jaffna was the cultural center of the Tamil people in Sri Lanka. You can feel that there is a lot of culture. On the other hand, it's really devastated by the war.
This was a battlefield. Most houses have been demolished. You can see bullet holes in almost every building.
There is a very, very high number of military in the town. There are areas where really at every corner there is military around.
The situation is not good at all for human living standard because you'll find that close to 50 families are sharing one water point, one well. The same 50 families are sharing one toilet.
Then the people for sure who wants to go back to their houses, who are internally displaced people, who live under very poor conditions, who just want to go home.
What we perceive as the main conflict area is the culture of silence. Society prefers to suffer in silence amidst all the atrocities.
What we do is like making a loudspeaker for this silence. If violence in countries are silent, if we don't know about them, that's bad. But it's worse when we don't know about the nonviolent struggle that allows civil societies all over the world not only to know that there's a conflict, but to know that there's hope.
You can't parachute people into conflict areas with rucksacks full of good intentions and expect peace to break out. And so what we're talking about are people who are well-trained, who are disciplined, who are committed to a common mission and a common decision-making structure, and who will be carrying out tested nonviolent strategies in an effective way.
I think the strength of NP is that we are really working on the grassroots level, that we really try to work with the people, that we have the time and the capacity to really build relationship with people.
Getting to know people, to build relationship, to build friendship is something that is not easy.
One of the nice things about the Peace Force is that we're pretty low to the ground, and that really seems to inspire a fair degree of trust.
If you are asking people to be peaceful, then we ourselves must be peace-loving people in ourselves. It should come from our within.
My work site in Sri Lanka is in a place called Mutur. It's one of the oldest Muslim communities, been here for the last 600 or 700 years. It's one of the most conflicted sites since the ceasefire. More people have been killed in Mutur than anywhere else in the country.
When we first came to Mutur, it was a completely different scenario, a completely different reality. We got here the first time in October, so it was just a couple of months after very violent phase between the communities, the Tamil and the Muslim community. We had people going to sleep in the church because they were afraid of sleeping in their houses. I can feel people more relaxed. They are more open to us. And we feel that they accept our presence, having us as neighbors, having us as part of the community. We go to the market with them, we buy the same vegetables, the same fruits, we talk to them. We invite everybody to the house to come and have tea with us, and they come.
Our presence as foreign internationals is a deterrence for violence in the community. And so one of the ways that Soraya, my teammate, and I make ourselves present is by taking a peace walk, walking around the community, and we talk and we chat with the people as much as we can.
They don't talk much about future because they are so afraid that violence is going to come, war is going to come back. They feel it's out of their hands. The idea is to make Mutur an example for peace for the island. It's a big dream, but it's, this is what they are working for. Most of the agencies that work in this area, they evacuate their people. But we stay because we are here because of the conflict. We are here to prevent, to observe, and help reduce violence in the civilian community.
When a battle broke out between two factions of the Tamil Tigers, our team, working with local religious leaders, went into the villages and through protective presence, prevented the violence from spilling over into the civilian population. In Sri Lanka, there is a rampant use of children as soldiers. Children are abducted as early as age 8. The median age for casualties for the Tamil Tigers is 16. Our teams also play an important role in helping to reunite child soldiers with their families and then provide a protective presence to prevent reabduction. During the recent elections, our teams provided critical accompaniment, monitoring, and presence so as to deter violence at the polling place.
There's these conflicts going on around the world, most of which we don't even hear about because they don't have strategic relevance for the United States. So often in the United States we contribute to the conflicts, either through weapons sales or through various strategic interests that we might have. And it means a lot to me to feel the support of other people in the United States to be engendering a culture of peace.
When we have reached the end of our 10-year plan and have a group of 2,000 people who are ready to go in somewhere, and then a reserve of some 4,000 others and a small support staff of maybe 100, 200 people, that our annual operating budget will be about the cost of a single F-16 fighter.
To deter war, to intervene in war, we need a massive group. We need to be able to mobilize large numbers of internationals. We need to be able to take good care of them so that they're safe, they are effective, their needs are met, and it's professional so that we're not tipping the balance in there without just having a clear role that's nonpartisan and allowing the local people to work out their problems in a nonviolent way.
As we continue our peacekeeping in Sri Lanka, working groups made up of Peace Force members are actively exploring a second site in areas including Burma, the Philippines, Uganda, and Israel-Palestine. We need your support. Make a tax-deductible contribution to the Nonviolent Peace Force today